The UK insists for its support for Ukraine is unwavering. I'm going to read into this more from the BBC, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here, an article from the BBC with the headline that the UK insists support for Ukraine is unwavering. The government's support for Ukraine is unwavering, Downing Street has insisted after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky suggested the UK backing had slowed down. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share us across social media so others are notified of this video. So I want to be careful here. Now, we are still very much contributing a lot to Ukraine, and I think it was much. I think it was like £63 million worth of aid, equipment, and whatnot was going to. The recent round was announced by Keir Starmer's Labour government, as well. Now we are not the biggest benefactor to Ukraine. Obviously, the US obviously holds that. Germany. I think is the biggest. Second, I think it's Germany. A couple of other European nations are sending quite a lot. I know the Baltic nations are sending. I've been sending lots of supplies and whatnot as well. I'm pretty sure it's Germany that have been the ones that have been contributing the most weapons support outside of America when it comes to support for Ukraine. Now, that doesn't mean to say that the UK hasn't still been contributing its part. Now, I think the reason that Zelensky is saying this. Not so much he's trying to basically, which essentially what any leader in his situation would do, is essentially trying to plead for more, pleading for more support, more weapons, more, and all that kind of stuff to help him in this conflict. So obviously, I've covered on short videos, as many of you guys will have seen. Obviously, Ukraine, as of right now, are inside Russian territory in the Kuskets region. They have taken the town of Kuskets and they've captured quite a fair few villages. They've recently blown up some bridges in there that will obviously disrupt some of Russia's supply lines in the country as well. While at the same time, Russia have still able to push and make small grounds and gains in the Donetsk region, where obviously the front line is taking place right now. Other regions aren't really moving too much, but it's mainly in Donetsk, where Russia are still making slow ground and gains there. So the recent incursion into Russian territory, obviously, it did once again bring a spotlight back onto the war in Ukraine. I think it was needed to remind people of the situation that they are in. We are talking about. I know, obviously, a lot of eyes are on Gaza right now, and I understand people. But remember, people don't even talk about Sudan. And the famine and the crisis there can be argued can be worse than what's happening within Gaza. But obviously because it's in Europe, obviously it rings more to home to us here, and obviously we don't know if Vladimir Putin, if he ever kicks the bucket, would this mean the end of the war? What would happen? I mean, obviously, the most people will think that maybe at some point there may be some kind of ceasefire or peace agreement of some sorts. Will Zelensky ever compromise? I don't know is the answer as of right now. Will he ever compromise and give it up territory? But the thing is that if they do, there's no reason why Russia won't come back up again in the future. This is the thing. You just cannot take Russia's word for it that they won't come back again. And this is the problem there. And I just I just feel like this thing from Zelensky is just an appeal, obviously, just to trying to get more people to give more weapons and support and whatnot. That's kind of what's crossed my mind when I think about this story, to be fair, you guys. So over the weekend, Mr. Zelensky said Ukraine needed partners who can truly help to step up. He's also repeated his calls for Ukraine to be allowed to use long-range missiles donated by Western allies against targets inside Russia. I think at this point, you should allow Zelensky to use the weapons however you like. if you're giving supplies and weapons, at this, Ukraine need to make desperate means, and this is their way of doing it. And like this whole thing about tension, Russia are not going to go to war with the rest of NATO. They're not going to go to war with other European countries while they're in war with Ukraine. They won't be able to manage it. They won't. Said number 10, the Prime Minister said the result with his support for Ukraine, adding that the UK had committed £3 billion a year to help in its ally. Yeah, £3 billion a year. Spokeswoman said there had been no change in the UK's position on how Ukraine could use long-range missiles, but added it was ongoing dialogue. Dan Street's comments will come almost 2 weeks after Ukraine launched a shocking incursion into Russia's western border territories, advancing 18 miles into the coastal region. In a message on social media on Saturday, Mr. Zelensky said the bravery and resilience of his soldiers compensate for the lack of essential decisions from our partners. This kind of comments, they can help, but at the same time they could also hurt as well. The Ukrainian president has previously urged the British government to let him use long-range Storm Shadow missiles provided by the UK against targets inside Russia. On Saturday, he reiterated this call by saying it is crucial that our partners remove barriers and hinders us from weakening Russia's position in the way this war demands. Long-range capabilities are the answer to the most crucial strategic questions of this war. He added that throughout the war, which started in 2022, the UK had demonstrated leadership in its support for Ukraine. However, he added, unfortunately, the situation has slowed down recently, and we will discuss how to fix this because long-range capabilities are vital to us. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the UK has been one of the country's leading donors, pledging $12.5 billion, including $7.6 billion for military assistance. The UK has previously said Ukraine has a clear right to use UK-provided weapons for self-defense, but that does not preclude operations inside Russia. The stance means anti-tank missiles, artillery, and armored vehicles can be used as part of Ukraine's offensive in Russia. However, there is still an exemption for the use of Storm Shadow missiles, which was supplied on the understanding that they would not be used for targets inside Russia. Storm Shadow missiles have a wide range of more than 115 miles, meaning Ukrainian pilots can use them while staying away from the front line of the conflict. So far, Ukraine's other Western allies have also avoided giving Kyiv the green light to use their long-range missiles to strike targets inside Russia. Asked about Mr. Zelensky's comments, number 10 said the Prime Minister remains absolutely resolute in his support for Ukraine. On the latest situation, including because the Prime Minister wants to set out his full admiration for the bravery shown by Ukrainian soldiers who have once again proved their spirit and determination in the face of continued Russian aggression. It is a reminder that Ukraine has consistently exceeded expectations of what is possible and Russia continues to fail. But in the terms of our support, again, it is unwavering. That's why we committed to £3 billion a year in support for Ukraine to do that for as long as the war lasts. Pressed on whether the government would lift restrictions on how Ukraine could use the UK-donated Storm Shadow missiles, number 10, there have been no change in UK's position on that specifically. The spokeswoman added that the UK has ongoing dialogue with our allies about coordinating efforts between us all to do the same thing and to be united in our support for Ukraine. And I believe I don't have an issue with them using it inside Russia, because at the end of this day, Russia need to understand that, hey, you are not going to. Ukraine have to show that resilience. They have to show that they are prepared to go beyond. And this obviously the incursion will not last. We know the incursion will not last. I do hope they bog down hard enough so that it costs Ukraine Russia severely. I really hope so. I also hope it does slow down the advancements in Donetsk. At the moment, from what I've seen from the reports, and as you guys know, I cover extensively on shorts videos for you guys, there does not appear to be too much in the change on there. But this conflict is still going on, and is one that still we should be always trying to keep our thoughts and prayers for all the lives that are being lost, all the homes and destruction that is being caused. It is very much still ongoing, and we should not forget that, you guys. But what do you guys honestly think about the UK's support for Ukraine? Do you think it's unwavering? Do you think Zelensky's right to demand or ask more? Do you think he's pushing his buttons by asking this as well? What do you guys honestly think? Let me know your thoughts and more and about the current conflict in the comments section down below. If you found this video interesting or informative, please hit the like button. It would be greatly appreciated. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further and support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.